Welcome once again to Hermetic Temple Radio. Well, welcome once again to Hermetic Temple Radio. This is your host, Frater Ralph, working here at Temple of the Infinite Universe in beautiful, rural Wheatland, Missouri. I almost said downtown Wheatland, Missouri, but we are about as far away from downtown as you can imagine. I'm looking out our front door window right now and watching the cows strolling in the field just across the river from where we are located. And we are far away from the hustle and the bustles of normal urban life and city life, and we're just out in a very rural setting right here. A perfect place, really, in my opinion, for meditation and just contemplating the mysteries of the infinite universe. And it is still my hope that we can secure the land that our temple is currently operating from. However, we do need to raise a considerable sum of money or arrange financing rather quickly. And I hadn't really been talking about this much because I thought that we had the financing already in the bag. And it was going to be a deal that would have saddled us with about $42,000 in debt for probably around 10 years to pay that off. But it would have been payments that would be manageable with our current level of income and our current level of donations. But that has hit a snag, and I am not sure at this point in time if we can successfully negotiate this financing deal or not. So, what I will be doing for the next few days, few weeks, as long as it is necessary, is going to be appealing for funds, appealing for donations. And at Temple of the Infinite Universe, if you go to our website, you'll see that we do offer counseling sessions. If you like listening to me on the radio, you can go ahead and book a one-on-one consultation, either over the phone or over Skype, or for heaven's sake, if you live in the Wheatland, Missouri area, Hickory County, Missouri, or somewhere close by, we can even arrange a face-to-face meeting and just have the counseling session. And right now we are offering those counseling sessions at a rate of $60 per hour. And we're may sound like a little bit, but compared to other services that I've seen offered online, we are definitely bargain basement. And, you have that option of supporting us. And then we also offer, we also have been requesting donations that would allow, people to donate online. and make the donation in any amount that you would like. And the donations would go directly at this point to our building fund to raise money to buy the property that we are currently on, and then any excess would allow us to extend our building projects and build a temple proper, or one might say a proper temple. But if we are not successful in raising the amount of money necessary, and right now, I'm just placing the figure at $50,000. That would be enough to allow us to buy the property that the temple is currently operating off of, and then allow us a little bit of extra to do some needed upgrades and spruce up the building and to begin transforming our current base of operations, from a double-wide mobile home to a chapel, and then go from the chapel to a proper interfaith temple. Now, if we are not able to raise that money within the next few months, then, like everybody else that finds themselves in situations where they have to fall back and regroup, we will then have to fall back and go to Plan B or Plan C. And Plan B or C, either one, would have us by necessity put the plans for having a retreat center where anybody can come by and enjoy the beauty and just book a private, retreat time for themselves. We would have to put that plan on hold, probably for another year, 2 years, really as long as it takes, because then we will have to just go back to operating, instead of on a 3-acre plot, to operating on a small little cabin on the river, which is still a beautiful place, but no room for seekers to drop by and book private retreats. We will have the ability to receive visitors, but in a small 2-room cabin, there's not really a whole lot that you can do besides eat, sleep, work the internet, teach, and just take care of things around the property. It really isn't the spread that we had hoped to be able to get control of, I guess that's the right way to phrase it, to have at our disposal, by now. I thought, when we first began looking at the plans for expansion 2 years ago, that we would definitely have everything wrapped up by now, but it's just been one thing after another, it seems, and donations have been almost non-existent coming in to support our work. We've been supporting it pretty much on Heidi, my wife Heidi's work. She is a very revered tarot reader in the Spanish language community, and she's been working on her social networks and engaging with her clients, giving readings and counseling sessions, and really she has been incredibly successful in raising a group of followers that are really committed to helping out with our work and with this task, and they receive spiritual counseling as well from her. And I was hoping we'd be able to do that, with other avenues as well, but so far that has not yet panned out. So what we are doing right now, and I really hadn't planned on getting this deeply into it, but really putting out an appeal for help. Here at Temple of the Infinite Universe, we are dedicated to interfaith peace, interfaith harmony. We are dedicated to aiding people grow in their own spiritual walk. And to that end, we don't really feel ourselves to be committed to any one religion. We are committed to the truth. We are committed to the divine source of our understanding. And we encourage people to develop a relationship with the divine source of their understanding, not necessarily the divine source of the religion or spiritual system that they may have been raised with, but with their own personal understanding of how the divine source relates to them and how they relate to the divine source. So we are not subservient to any one religion or spiritual school of thought. We are a temple, an organization that believes very firmly in freedom and liberation and spiritual growth and spiritual freedom. The other day I did a little talk on spiritual enslavement, and where churches and religions and religious leaders will encourage their followers to just accept their teachings without question or almost without question. And we are not that way. We encourage people to question. If something does not make sense to you, by all means, feel free to question it. We are a spiritual school of thought that values freedom, liberation very, very strongly. And we encourage our people, spiritual seekers of all varieties, to feel free to develop their own relationship with the divine source of their understanding, or you might even say the universe, the infinite universe of your understanding. And we are dedicated to doing whatever we feel is appropriate to help people break the bonds that ensnare them, that enslave them, to wake up to their true potential as human beings and as children of the infinite universe. And we are also dedicated to building tolerance, building a true tolerance, not one where we just close our eyes to the evil that we see going on in the world, but a tolerance that says, whatever you have done in the past, or whoever you have done in the past, whoever you have been in the past, you have the ability to transform. You have the ability to become better. You have the ability to grow, to transform, to become a far, far better person than you have been in the past. And we accept you on your quest to better yourself. That's what I mean when I say tolerance. It's not turning a blind eye to evildoers, but it is accepting people where they are at and then helping people in whatever way is best to facilitate their spiritual growth and the spiritual growth of others. But yes, we are dedicated to liberation, to interfaith cooperation, building a true sense of harmony, building a true sense of inner peace, because we see so much disharmony and warfare in the world today, and I believe it is primarily because we have a true lack of inner peace within our own hearts and within our own lives. And when you are in turmoil within, your inner state begins to mirror itself in your outer state. And when you are at war with yourself within your own heart and having turmoil within, you are far more likely to accept the turmoil without you, the turmoil on the outside, on your outer world, as being acceptable, normal, and just accepting it as just the way it is, and you can't do a darn thing to stop it. But when you begin to cultivate inner peace and inner harmony and begin to make changes within your inner life, within your heart, within your soul, your consciousness, your very being, then you begin to awaken and see that all the turmoil that we see on the outside does not have to be. All the turmoil that I had on the inside, I begin to realize it was transformed. It can be transformed, and greater transformations are possible. And then we ask people to take it one step further and just think, okay, if I can be successful at managing and eliminating the inner turmoil within my heart, why can it not be possible to heal the outer turmoil that we see within the world? But the first step always has to be to find peace within, to become peaceful within, to be that peace and that harmony that practically every man, woman, and child within the human race wants to see in the world we live in. But we don't, because we don't first cultivate it on the inside. And then when we cultivate it on the inside, we manifest it, and others can see our own inner light and have hope, and perhaps to be changed, and perhaps to see us as an example of what it is to have lived a life in the past that was in turmoil, just perhaps totally screwed up is one way we could put it, and to change that around and to transform ourselves into something better, something beautiful. I believe that before any great change is possible, people first have to believe that change is possible. And most people in the world today don't believe that there is anything they can do to change their lives, to change the world around them, to change themselves, to really become better. And when you think that change is impossible, then it truly is impossible to make the changes necessary to grow spiritually. And a part of our work is awakening those who are willing to awaken, and let them know that yes, indeed, change is possible. Personal growth is possible. Spiritual growth is possible. And we can work together to accomplish that end. I'm going to play a song by Ash Gainley called Universe Acceptable. And then in the second half of our program, I will be talking a little bit about Bitcoin and how we are now accepting Bitcoin transactions, Bitcoin donations, and where we really want to go with it in the future. So that coming up right after Ash Gainley.
like a summer's day. You questioned life and lost your faith. You needed to believe in something that your eyes had never seen. And now you found that you can't find the answers to the questions that you had in mind. It's like a dial tone, no one's on the line, and now you're feeling so alone. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? Trust your heart, it knows the way. In yourself you need some faith. Don't listen to the crowd. No one's got this whole thing figured out. Listen to the voice inside, the inner self you long denied. The day that you were born, you were given everything you need to carry on. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? How many bright suns shine upon the lucky ones who wander? How far have we come? And will we go before we're done? Yeah, the hardest thing it seems to me is letting go of all beliefs. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery?
All right, I am back, and now on to my main topic for this broadcast, announcing that Temple of the Infinite Universe is now accepting Bitcoin donations. And why we are doing this is because I think Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general are the wave of the future. The way I see things going down in the world today is that fiat currencies, and by that I mean like the traditional currencies that we've used, since at least the 1970s, currencies that are made out of paper and just backed by faith in a particular government, I think they're on the way out. I think as we've seen, in the economic collapse of 2007 and 2008, people have begun to wake up to the very, very real reality of our economic world order, and this reality is that our world economy is really based on a house of cards. It's built like a house of cards. It is not stable. In 2007, we saw a partial collapse of the world economy, and it didn't get as bad as it could have, but I mean, it was bad enough to launch us all into the Great Recession. might as well say the Second Great Depression. And another collapse even worse than that is definitely possible, and some would say it's only a matter of time. Now, into this atmosphere of failing world economies, of failing faith in fiat currencies and national currencies, many people around the world have put their trust in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is a form of currency that is based not on the fiat or decree of one government, but on something I like to call a popular fiat, a fiat or decree of the common people. When you deal with fiat currency like the US dollar has value because the US government says it has value. And people put their trust in that decree. And they believe it has value. And once they believe that those little pieces of paper and those small little metal discs that we call coins, once people accept that they have value, then lo and behold, like some sort of voodoo magic, those things have value. And they have value because one government has said that they have a certain level of value, and the banks concur, and the people go along with it, and everybody lives as though a $100 bill has value instead of just being some pretty fancy toilet paper. But, think about it. Our currencies used to be backed by gold and silver. And so we knew they had value because the government said, okay, we have this $100 bill backed with the equivalent of $100 of gold or silver. And that was called the gold standard. And for a long time, we were on the gold standard. Practically, I think there was a time when practically every nation on earth was on the gold standard. It was just the way you did things. And then in the 1970s, President Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard and said, no, we should be perfectly free to just print up as much money as we see fit and have it enter into circulation without being backed by the equivalent value of gold or silver, because there's only so much gold in the world, and there's only so much silver in the world. And if you have your currency backed by gold or silver, that means there has to be a limit on how much of that currency you can produce. Now, if you want to produce more currency than that, then you have to take the nation off of the gold standard, and that is what Richard Nixon did back in the 1970s. And since then, governments, our government and other governments have followed suit. They have all felt free to manufacture as much fiat currency as they felt was necessary without having it being backed by gold or silver, and having the value of that currency hinging upon the people's trust in the federal government and the federal government's decree or fiat that this currency has value. Now, that has all worked well and good for a fairly long time until the crash of 2007. And that's when a large number of people came to awaken and see that fiat currency is not the same as an economic house built upon gold brick. It is a house of paper, a house of paper cards, all dressed up to look like $1 bills. But that there could easily come a time, And that time almost hit us right between the eyes in 2007, when no amount of paper currency would we be able to buy anything. I mean, we dodged a bullet in 2007. If things had gone as bad as they could have gone, you could have taken $1,000 to the grocery store, $1,000 cash into the grocery store, and try to buy a loaf of bread and not be able to buy that bread with that currency, because the economic collapse would have been so great and public trust in fiat currencies so shot that nobody would be accepting it, that everybody would be wanting something of real value, something tangible. And when you get to the day when $1,000 cash or $100,000 cash can't buy you anything, then you know that we could possibly enter into some pretty scary times. Now, Bitcoin operates on a different system. It operates more or less on a public fiat, public confidence. While public confidence has decreased over time when it comes to fiat currencies, when it comes to Bitcoin and certain other altcoins or cryptocurrencies, people still have faith in that. And it's partially because these currencies are relatively free from governmental intrusion or manipulation. And it's partially because of the blockchain technology that Bitcoin and other altcoins and cryptocurrencies are based upon. The blockchain makes it possible to send payments internationally or just around the corner in fairly short order. Sometimes it takes a little longer for a payment to process than other times, but normally when the whole system is running correctly and well and is not overburdened, you can send a payment halfway around the world or completely around the world, within a couple of hours. Or within an hour or less, perhaps be able to send a payment to the guy just down the street using your smartphone. So it's convenient. People have faith in it. People trust it. It's been around since 2009. It has had its share of ups and downs, and so far it has weathered them all very well. The value has been, well, in the beginning it went up and down, up and down. In the beginning, Bitcoins didn't have much value at all. You could take, a few thousand of them and perhaps buy a pizza. Now, you take one Bitcoin, which is currently valued, I believe, at around $760, and you can buy as many pizzas as you like with just one Bitcoin. So that's the way the value of the Bitcoin has gone from its modest beginnings in 2009 to present day in 2016. And I really don't see where Bitcoin is going to go anywhere but up in the foreseeable future. Sure, it is going to have its ups and downs, but overall, I think it is going to climb. And so that's why over the last few months, I have been investing in Bitcoin, and I have been learning as much as I can about this new media of financial transactability. And in the beginning, I learned about Bitcoin just by playing with Bitcoin faucets. And, there you can just play around with some Bitcoin faucets, play a game, as it were, and earn a few pennies of Bitcoin by the end of 2 or 3 days. So you're not making a whole incredible amount of money playing the Bitcoin faucets, but the Bitcoin faucets are good learning tools to teach people, okay, how Bitcoin operates and how to get a Bitcoin wallet and how to begin the process of learning how to do transactions using Bitcoin instead of your own popular fiat currency. And that's how I began. And over time now I've been learning a little bit about how to accept Bitcoin transactions, Bitcoin donations on our websites. And today I'm happy to announce that I have just put up our Bitcoin donation page on our main website at www.hermetictemple.com. And just go to that address and then look up in the menu up above, and you will see Bitcoin donations. And just click on that, and you'll see our new Bitcoin donation box. And Bitcoin allows you a certain amount of flexibility in that with PayPal, well, I can't really say that, but I mean, if you want to make it out for like $2.22, you can do that. I made my first test donation using the figure $3.33, and that went through fine. You can also make donations in the hundreds or thousands of dollars, just whatever you are able to do. And Bitcoin is a safe, secure way of making donations and is accepted all around the world. Kind of like Travelers, what American Express used to be. But unlike American Express or any other credit cards, Bitcoin is controlled by the blockchain and not by any one company, corporation, or government. So it respects your personal freedom, and it is a form of currency that works well in the electronic information age. It's just designed to allow people to send money anywhere in the world as easily as you can send an email. And we're not there yet, but when we get to the point of having interplanetary colonies, like say on the moon or Mars, and we're trying to figure out ways to conduct business transactions between, say, a person living in San Diego and a person living somewhere on the moon or somewhere on Mars. Well, back around 2005, people may have been at a loss as to how to conduct transactions on an interplanetary scale. But using a media such as Bitcoin that allows international transactions to be conducted smoothly, safely, and securely, to me it's only reasonable to say that you can take the next step and anywhere you can get like a radio link or be able to send messages at the speed of light, you can also send Bitcoin there at the speed of light. So that's another reason why I firmly believe that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general is definitely the wave of the future, because there will be a time when humanity leaves the cradle of the earth and begins to colonize other places. We already have people in the International Space Station. God, about 50 years ago, when I was born, well, 50-ish years ago, people were thinking that was just the thing of science fiction. Today it's science fact. Right now there's a lot of people out there that when I mention colonies on the moon or colonies on Mars, they think that that's just science fiction. But I have a feeling that within 10, 20, definitely 50 years, we are going to see that happen. And when that happens, not if, but when that happens, we are going to need some sort of a coin, a cryptocurrency, a currency, whatever you want to call it, that allows interplanetary transactions to go through at the speed of light. Right now, today, Bitcoin is that financial media. It is that currency that can do that. So that's why we're accepting Bitcoin. And so if you care to make a donation to Temple of the Infinite Universe using Bitcoin, you can feel free to do that. And I am expanding a little bit, looking for ways to accept payments for energy readings, tarot readings, and spiritual counseling sessions using Bitcoin as well. I haven't quite fully learned how to do that yet, but we're looking into different ways, and I'm hoping within the next day or two, if not by the end of next week, go ahead and get that done, and just be totally revamped to be able to accept not only fiat currencies backed by the U.S. government, Canada, Mexico, or European Union, but also be able to accept what I believe is definitely the wave of the future, Bitcoin. So if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, you can Google it, find some Bitcoin fountains, play with them for a little while, get to learn the media. And if you're already, into Bitcoin, then you're all set to go. So that's it for that. I don't have a piece of music to close on, so I'm just going to close by saying that thank you all for tuning in, and thank you all for listening. And I will come back to you probably sometime tomorrow with a further update on Temple of the Infinite Universe, and perhaps a teaching. So, until then, wish you all a blessed day of spiritual discovery, and we'll see you again around the internet. Thank you.
Temple of the Infinite Universe is an interfaith temple organized along Hermetic lines taking root in Wheatland, Missouri. Temple of the Infinite Universe is dedicated to the cultivation of interfaith peace and harmony and the collection of wisdom from a wide variety of religious and spiritual traditions. Through dialogue and meditation, temple members are encouraged to develop inner peace and a close conscious contact with the divine source of their understanding. Services offered by Temple of the Infinite Universe include the various podcasts heard here on Hermetic Temple Radio, as well as discussion groups forming face-to-face and online. As we grow our physical temple, we hope to offer interfaith services in 2016. To support our building and operating needs, or to learn more about us, visit our website at www.hermetictemple.com. That's www.hermetictemple.com. Your support is appreciated. Blessings.